Welcome to Marketplace Finds, where we show off some crazy and interesting cars for sale, judge what we think of the price, then order it in our tier list. First up, we have a car so loud, so unnecessarily shiny, and so jam-packed with cringe mods that it actually managed to sneak its way into the Concours d'Elegance, which is kind of like sneaking a Monster Energy can into a wine tasting. It's a 2006 Hyundai Tiburon GT, which is a car that started life as a basic econo-sport coupe for dudes who couldn't afford a Mustang, but desperately wanted people to think they were mysterious and dangerous at their local Sonic. As you can see, someone took it and dumped enough money into it to make God weep and Paul Walker roll over in his grave. Let's start with the body, where it's got all the classics of Lambo doors, a whack paint job, and a body kit straight from Temu. It's painted black with hot pink racing stripes, airbrushed flames, and a hood mural of famous musical artists. Under said hood, you're greeted with an engine bay that looks like a bottle of grape Fanta exploded all over some mediocre Korean engineering. Sure, it's got a manual transmission because nothing gets the ladies going like the sound of a Hyundai Tiburon grinding into second gear while trying to out-rev a Prius. It even has some two big-ass nitrous bottles, because that's clearly what this front-wheel drive 170 horsepower needed. The rest of the interior is fairly mild, that is, until you reach the trunk where we get to see a TV screen hooked up to an Xbox 360, which is honestly pretty neat if you don't mind getting deafened by the huge subs while you play. The seller is looking for $13,000, and I think we all know where I'm going to be placing it on the tier list. If you've ever wondered what would happen if Shrek joined a car club in East LA, wonder no more. This is the 1983 Chevy Malibu wagon that was bitten by a radioactive lime and woke up thinking it was a rapper from 1997. This wagon didn't just get painted, it got baptized in a vat of Baja Blast. It's greener than your cousin's vape cloud and twice as loud as the moment those LEDs fire up. It looks like the bat signal got sponsored by Monster Energy. The front end lifts higher than a high schooler on 420 thanks to a triple pump hydraulic setup that's more expensive than some people's actual cars. And I can't lie, those Luxor rims are the chef's kiss on top. Unfortunately, we get no engine bay pictures, but it reportedly has a 5.3 LS swap mated up to a Turbo 400 trans, so that's a nice bonus. There's also only one interior photo, and from what we can see, you get a digital dash brighter than your future if you stopped buying projects off Facebook, and some nice plush looking chairs. The seller is looking for $20,000, and to be fair, in parts alone, it's worth a pretty penny, so I could see it going for close to that amount. If you're a BMW lover, you're either going to love this one, or more likely hate it, because as you can see, someone looked at a perfectly good E30 and said, you know what this needs? Less roof, less interior, and a spoiler big enough to dock a helicopter. The factory roof is long gone, replaced with a full roll cage perfect for when you want sunburn and a break from having to listen to your girlfriend talk. On the inside there's no carpet, no door panels, but it does have some nice bucket seats as a bonus. The paint looks clean, the body lines are sharp, and from 10 feet away, it honestly looks kind of mean, but I'm not so sure the giant fender flares were that necessary. It currently has an automatic transmission, which is a bold move for a track build, but the seller will sell you a 5-speed swap for an extra $200 that hilariously currently resides in the trunk. They are asking for $5,500, which isn't absurd, but it's not cheap either, but with a little bit of love would make for a great track learner car. Here it is, the Facebook Marketplace limo from hell, a 1999 Suburban that someone stretched to a point where it's legally considered a border wall. Now let's be clear, this thing didn't get stretched, it got dragged through a welding shop by force. The panels don't line up, the paint is a 3-shade disaster, and as an added bonus, it has been sitting for the last 4 years. It is quite possibly the worst $2,000 you could ever spend, but at least with some work, you'll be a fan favorite at your local demolition derby for all of 5 seconds before it snaps in half. This next vehicle is a 2014 Scion TC, and it seems to be a rolling warning label with caution tape all over that isn't just cautioning others, it's a warning about the owner's taste. I really don't know what the theme is here, as it seems Hello Kitty's goth cousin may have gone on a binge watch of serial killer shows and tried to recreate it as their personality. There are bloodstained handprints across the body panels with messages such as go back or run if the caution tape didn't scare you off, and we can't forget the purple underglows as a cherry on top. It's been lowered and has some nice looking rims, or I should say what looks to be nice looking rims, as the seller can apparently only take photos from the front of the car and one singular low quality pic of the giant wing at the back. The seller even has one picture that shows the car before they modified it, and honestly it looks great. The seller is after $10,500, which is honestly not terrible, but having 130,000 miles on it, I'd be trying to get them down a little. Next up we have a 1994 Honda Prelude buried beneath a storm of lightning bolts, tribal chrome blades, and early 2000s Xbox startup screen energy. Underneath all that airbrushed chaos is a genuinely cool car, but for the meantime the paint job looks like Zeus himself had a nervous breakdown mid-sketch. There are lightning bolts everywhere, but not in the cool AC/DC PC way, more like someone saw a Snap-on calendar from 2006 and decided to recreate it on a car. The red side of the car is giving Hellfire Hot Topic, while the blue side screams Mountain Dew Code Blue Promo Giveaway, and someone please tell me what the hell the metal things on the hood are supposed to be. I know I'm going to catch flack for this, but I honestly rate the body kit, as it's not too extreme compared to most of the ones we see. And yes, I know that rear wing isn't doing much for the probably 100 horsepower it makes. Stepping inside, you're thrown into a time capsule of cloth, as it basically looks like how it came out of the factory, bar the upgraded radio screen. As an added bonus, we can see it's a manual transmission, so you can hit that sweet VTEC in every gear. Better yet is the seller claims it's got a new engine and even has receipts for it, which might just be a first on Facebook Marketplace. The seller was after $6,000, but unfortunately it already sold, and I honestly can't blame them. I don't even know how much of this next vehicle we can even show on YouTube, because it's covered in more naked women than your cousin's iPad history. This lowrider is a 1994 Cadillac Fleetwood that you can't even park near a school without getting on a list. I can't lie though that paint is immaculate, and someone spent a ton of time and skill on it. It's just a shame that skill was used to turn this into what looks like a rolling strip club advertisement. And don't think this thing's just a looker. It squats, lifts, and dances thanks to a fully built hydraulic setup. It's got a chrome rear diff, dual pump setup, hard lines tucked like a show car, and enough flex to make a chiropractor jealous. Step inside and you're hit with more purple than Prince's estate sale. Leather and vinyl, all stitched up like an 80s club couch, and aside from the questionable color choices, it all looks to be in great condition. The seller is looking for a big $24,000, and I could be totally wrong, but I don't see it selling for close to that, even if it won an award. This is what happens when you mix a barn find, a Jeep Wrangler, and a welding torch while blasting Skinnerd. It's a 1946 Chevrolet AK truck, reanimated with Jeep Wrangler bones, monster truck ambition, and just enough rust to give your doctor something to worry about. The cab looks like it was fished out of a pond behind an old moonshine still, but that full coverage patina looks better than most cars we see on this channel. The body's sitting on huge 40-inch mud terrains, ready to claw through a swamp, and with bodywork like that, I'm sure you won't be too fussed about getting some rock rash on it. As a bonus, there's a Honda 50 mini bike that comes with the sail strapped to the bed just in case you need a backup. And speaking of the bed, there's a mosaic of license plates across the floor like it's some kind of scrapyard Pinterest board, but it honestly looks great. Moving to the interior, you're greeted by what we'll generously call honest design. The floor's still wearing its original coat of dirt, there's no carpet, no fancy dash, just raw steel, some exposed bolts. But they did throw in some surprisingly clean new bucket seats, so your butt will be comfy even if the rest of the truck is actively trying to exfoliate you. To own this Swamp Rat rod and mini bike combo, the owner is only after $5,500, which in my opinion is a steal, so come grab yourself a bargain. If you've been watching this channel for a while now, you'll know I'm a sucker for these comic style paint jobs, and this might just be the best one we've seen yet. It's been painted on the cult classic 1993 Nissan 300ZX with its iconic headlights and body style that you either love or hate. Whoever did the paint job honestly nailed it, with every panel lined with thick black marker strokes, complete with cartoon X's, cross-hatching, and motion blur scribbles. From the background it looks like it just rolled out of the seller's homemade paint booth, which would usually be a red flag, but looking at how clean their work is, I can't even hate. Under that orange comic strip of a hood lives a naturally aspirated VG30, so unfortunately no turbos there, but that just gives you extra room to work with when it inevitably gives you some issues. As a bonus, this one is manual and has the T-top too, with newer seals that allegedly don't leak. The seller is after $6,000, which seems like a great price, but considering it's got 180,000 miles and at least one full anime convention's worth of attention, I'd be trying to get it for cheaper. You ever wonder what would happen if someone tried to build a car strictly for Instagram clout and drove it through a wormhole full of vape, smoke and glitter? Well, wonder no more, because this 2016 Subaru BRZ is the physical embodiment of an internet comment section arguing about camber, which it's got enough of to moonwalk sideways into oncoming traffic, and it's been dumped so low it could probably limbo under a cockroach's armpit. I've seen it plenty of times, but I still just don't get why you'd turn a perfectly good car into something that can barely be driven on the road, let alone out of a driveway. As for the paint job, I honestly love the metallic green, but what the hell is up with the random LSD inspired fender, which appears in only one of the photos? Sadly, there's only one photo of the interior, and it seems equally as insane as the camber, with what looks to be a galaxy wrap on the door cards and part of the dash. The seller is after an insane $21,000, which equates to roughly $10,000 for the car and $11,000 for the stance tax, and is well overpriced. Forget Hellcats, lifted diesels, and carbon fiber. This is how you flex when you've got taste, a sense of humor, and require no legroom. Introducing the 1957 BMW Isa 300, a microcar so charming, so hilariously impractical, it somehow loops back around to being completely awesome. awesome. It's like a German engineer said, what if we built a car small enough to park inside a regular car? As you can see, this one's had a beautiful restoration being painted in candy apple red and polished so hard you could use it to fry ants. This thing might be the shiniest war era bubble ever to roll out of Bavaria. You get one door on the front, like it's trying to swallow you whole, and you'll find a single bench seat, a steering wheel that swings out with the door, and exactly enough room to transport two full-grown adults who are very close friends. The upholstery is just as perfect as the outside, and it even has a fabric rollback sunroof, likely not for enjoying fresh air, but for emergency exits if someone parks too close and you can't open the entire face of the car. Underneath that curvy bodywork lies a 300cc single-cylinder engine, making somewhere between 12 and 13 horsepower, so if there's any kind of head-on wind, you'll probably get stuck on the highway. The seller's after $35,000, and sure, you could buy a ton of nice sports cars for that kind of money, but none of them would turn heads like this. Behold the 1990 Chevrolet Astro van that rolled out of the factory as a humble soccer mum shuttle and came back as a full-blown lowrider sin wagon. Let's start with the paint. This van's body has more intricate blue lines than your sketchy uncle's old prison tattoos, but let's be real, that paint has held up well. All over the windows, there's a bunch of barely visible tribal stickers with classics like Virgin Mary, but also this one that seems to say either City Life or Crip Life, and given its color, I wouldn't be surprised if it's seen some bullet hole damage repairs. In the back, it's got more batteries than a doomsday prepper's basement, and the saddest looking couches with a distinct lack of comfort. At least the front has seen a bit more love, even if it's been done with some very questionable tastes. The seller didn't put a price on it, instead asking for trades on a classic car or hot rod, which I think we all know they aren't going to get. This isn't a trailer. It's what happens when a Volkswagen Beetle gets chopped in half during a custody battle and the back end got full weekend camping rights. What you're looking at is a 1974 VW Beetle turned teardrop camper, perfect for anyone who loves vintage charm, camping trips, and completely confusing other drivers at every red light. On the inside, you're greeted with a surprisingly cozy cabin. There's black diamond stitched upholstery on the floor, some of the original dashboard, and even a soft top you can open up to watch the stars. Just be mindful for any raccoons that will break in during the night. Hell, it's even got a diesel heater mounted under the hood or trunk if you've ever wanted to sleep in a bug shell while cooking your ankles to medium rare on diesel fumes. For the $2,500 asking price, it seems fairly reasonable, especially if it's the only way your wife will actually join you on a camping trip.
Give me a hell yeah!
Welcome to Louisiana, home of gator tails, swamp boats, and apparently $17,000 axle sets that cost more than your cousin's entire house. That's right, this Facebook listing is not for the truck, not for the monster sitting 10 feet in the air looking like Satan's Silverado. Nope, it's just for the axles, and not even a full set as this is one of two, which basically means you're about to drop a nice used car's worth of cash on something that doesn't move unless it's under a vehicle that has been taking steroids since it came out of the factory. I mean, obviously a ton of work and fabrication has gone into them, but $17,500 seems like a lot of money. And maybe I'm wrong, and you guys will roast me in the comments, but for that price it's going into the red tier. It's not a garage gold video without some sort of redneck engineering. In this episode we've got this kind of awesome, but definitely terrifying shopping cart of death. Powered by what looks like a Harbor Freight heart transplant, this steel cage of adrenaline can reportedly hit 40 miles per hour. It was built by some students, so if those welds don't kill you, that chain steering wheel definitely will when you hit a curb. It's $1,500 for the thrill of your life, or potentially the end of it, but hell if I'm not tempted to buy it. It's getting a clown sticker because of how much it's going to hurt when you crash it. Here's how the final tier list ended up. Let us know what we got right, what we got wrong, if there's anything you change around. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.